Hello and welcome to the Edge of Eternities early 17 lands data review. In this video, I'm going to be looking over the early 17 lands data and just sort of going through it, talking about, my early takes on the format. I do have a little bit less experience with this format than most at this point. I've been away traveling and getting addicted to RuneScape and all that good stuff in the meantime. So, there is less format knowledge for me than I would say that there is usually. I've played a decent amount of drafts. I actually did a lot of early drafting on Magic Online this time that's that's the max EV way to do it. I think I've discovered. Um, but with that being said, let's begin with looking at the deck color data. It's a good way to sort of get a good general look at the format, talk about sort of some of the good, some of the bad, and we can see that Simic is sort of your best deck. It's not clear. I would say it's pretty clear cut actually. It's about a percentage and a little bit over the next best deck, which is I would say is pretty significant. So Simic is probably your clear number one, and then there's sort of like a tier two of like Azorius, Gruul, Selesnya, Orzhov, like that sort of tier. And it's kind of like a whole mix here of like basically every deck in the top half here, other than your Golgari, Izzet, Boros. Izzet's kind of back home. I assume actually when we look at top players, I assume Izzet's going to be just fine, and this is how top players just usually is in general. Oh, it's not. Wow, it's a surprise. It's not fine at all. Very similar for top players. Actually, top players, this is very unique. This is a unique thing. This almost never happens. The top player archetype data is more there's more disparity than there is for all users. That's actually very rare. Usually what happens is for top players, it gets flatter. And this will happen over the course of the set just naturally. So like eventually this will happen. But for this format, this is strange. So we have one, two, three, four decks that are sort of clearly in tier one for top users: Azorius, Dimir, Selesnya, and Simic. Um, and then you sort of have one, two, three, four, five, six decks that are all about the same. But there's sort of there being such a defined like two tier thing, and having only four decks the top tier is, I would say, uncommon. Like if we look, and I know this is end of format data for Final Fantasy, so it's not exactly the same, but if we look here, look at how flat this is. You have your 162%, 61, and it's pretty flat. You have your one outlier with Gruul, but everything else 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, right? Like it's really flat. Also, top player win rate 59.4, and in Edge of Eternities, I think it's lower, 59.1. So top users winning a little bit less, and that does not bode well. Usually that number goes down over the course of the format, so it varies. Although we are kind of deep enough at this point that it's not going to go down too much more. We already have like half of the data we're going to collect for the format because that's, format life cycles are short and all of it gets played in the first week. Anyway, now something to look at for top users is how frequently they draft the decks. That is also, again, something to keep in mind. Simic actually, a lot of Rakdos for top players despite it not winning well. Seems to be maybe a bit overdrafted at the moment. Selesnya is right in sort of your sweet spot. Simic right in the sweet spot. Is it unsurprisingly? I am surprised to see Is it at 57.7 and have it be one of the worst performing decks for top users. Historically, Is it is a deck that performs poorly for everybody and then performs relatively well for top users, but it seems like top users have not had that same success recently at extracting value from Is it. The decks they have had success with are basically the same. I would say Rakdos is the big one that they're overdrafting, and it's kind of a trap for top users, so that's something to keep in mind. That's actually interesting, right? So Rakdos is a more drafted deck, although these are. Oh, look at this! Wow. So Simic is underdrafted at the moment. That's really the key thing to take away, because there's these three decks are drafted all more than Simic, and that's there's not you can say so Simic's a three color deck, and that is true. Simic plus a splash does sort of have to be factored in. It's the only deck that you can really splash in. I guess you can splash in Selesnya. It is kind of a Bant format. That is kind of like we're back. It's Bant is back. Let's actually see where is Bant. How is Bant doing? Just pure Bant. Well, not so bad compared to the other ones. Sultai's in here. 54.8, pretty standard. Again, we can go take a look at the end of format Final Fantasy data. It's going to be a little bit higher, I think. 55.1, yeah. Players are losing a little bit more in Edge of Eternities. What does that mean? 54.7. So this is closer to a Tarkir Dragonstorm than maybe your uh, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy. I mean, look, I'm wax poetic about Final Fantasy again for like the 800,000th time. It's an all timer for me. So it's hard to compete with one of the best formats ever. All right, I think that's it. What do we learn from here? What do we learn from this part of the data? Really, what we learned is that Simic is really, very good, and actually, pure Simic is, two color decks are kind of back in this format. Like, there's no fixing. Fixing is just like not real. Like all the splashing is actually way worse than I think usually. Actually, no, 54.1's close to normal. Yeah, that's pretty normal actually. Tarkir is a little bit of a different story, so I don't really. That's a 3-color set, so yeah, 54.1 is basically right in line. So actually, you're not winning any more or less, but the fixing in theory is worse. Let's get on to some of the cards. Let's talk about commons. We like to start with the commons. Cryogen Relic is your number one common, and by, a reasonable enough margin, we're at half a percentage point almost at this point. Your opening hand win rate, I mean, you could say it's basically, I would still take Galactic Wayfarer over it, in your pack. Actually, I probably wouldn't. I would probably take Cryogen Relic because I want to be blue more than green, although green has, as we can see, some of the top commons here. Banishing Light is back after it's had an up and down year, right? So if we look at Bloomborough, let's actually just go look at Bloomborough. Let's take a quick little detour here. Let's talk about format specific traits. Um, Even in a format where one of the best commons is white, right? So white was a good color in Bloomborough. We can come down here and see that Banishing Light was quite washed. Now, I don't actually remember where it was. How low did it go? Here it is, 55.7. So Banishing Light at a 55.7. You really, this is where I was like, it's washed. It actually is washed, and in Bloomborough it was washed because there were so many tokens. But in Edge of Eternities, it's back, baby. Banishing Light is all the way back, 58.0. That's a 3 percentage point increase. That's actually an enormous success. Gene Pollinator, of course, is quite good. You got your Luminaries, and at common at least we can see white and green. Is sort of like green specifically is kind of your best color at common, and then it's white probably, and then maybe blue or Divert Disaster is performing quite well. Just pure Quench, the backside of it's quite useless. But commons actually are kind of bad in this format. Like if we look at Final Fantasy, we'll see. Now again, the whole player win rate is down a bit, so common win rates are going to be down. I don't know, they're going to take the brunt of that hit. Common units are going to be down. So, but you can see, like, at the end of it, it's a little bit higher. There's a little bit more going on. At least I feel that way. That the commons are maybe a little bit less exciting in this format than they have been in previous formats. But yeah, green, white, blue, that type of thing. You have a couple of red things going on. A couple of, the Roost Beetle is back. Ferris Beetle all the way back, even some are saying. It's like it never left. Alright, let's get into the white comments to talk about. We mentioned Banishing Light and Night Luminary already. Focus Fire is a card I do want to call it. It's quite good. It actually was the day one, I think, best common? No, I think it was Galactic Wayfarer on day one, but Focus Fire was up there. It obviously had, some good stuff. Radiant Strike seems to be playable. Opening hand at 53, not terrible. Night Luminary just kind of seems like it's a house. Like, this card is just the nuts, really. Got the boosters. The boosters are a fine card, but really, as I said, it really falls off quickly. There's just not a whole lot of stuff that's exciting. A lot of stuff you can kind of play and is like deck specific. Another card that had like some kind of good day one stats was Weft Blade Enhancer, but yeah, that was not sustainable. I think Exosuit Savior, I'm a little surprised to see it this low. I have had success with the card to a certain, like, the minimal degree. You can see that its number of games in hand is considerably higher than the cards around it. I do think that it has Elsa issues, right? 594, if we rank by Elsa, is it's not crazy, but I think this card is not this bad. I don't. It is. Its win rate is bad enough that you really do need to think about where you're playing it. It's bad enough that like you just do not want to jam this in any white deck. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it is not as good as some of the effects like it have been in the past. For sure. There's just not that much stuff to bounce. It's really just Cryogen Relic is kind of the thing that you're bouncing. Like Cryogen Relic plus the Exosuit Savior is a sick combo because you get to draw like 5 cards or whatever. It's insane. I have done it. And Cryogen Relic is the only blue common that matters, really. I mean, Divert Disaster is coming in tied with Mechan as your second highest win rate common. I forgot to check top users on white. Let's actually just do that really quick because it usually is enlightening sometimes. Radiant Strike really performing. It's just all the removal spells, interestingly, are sort of your high win rate cards for top users. Whipblade Enhancer is up there, but again, these are all below average cards for top users. So it's not really all that exciting. Exosuit Savior is still a trap. Don't play it unless you are playing it. Okay, on to blue. Back to blue. As I was saying, Cryogen Relic is really the only thing that actually matters. It is quite good, but it is sort of like the like Self-Graph Mechan I think is better than this, and if we look, we'll see that in a moment. Shatter I think is fine. There's a lot of like fine commons, a lot of fine commons that aren't that exciting, but you'll play. Like the whale is fine. It's like sort of whatever. Um, yeah, a lot of just like medium stuff in blue at common. We can take a look at the top users. Oh man, dude, what a house. Divert Disaster, I mean, it's strange to see Divert Disaster be this good because usually the Quench variants, like the ones that have like actual upside are like pretty good, and the ones that like don't actually like counter the spell as much are bad. Seeing this one be this high surprises me. You know what it is? I actually think Divert Disaster's win rate is so high because of lander tokens. Because you can hold 2 mana up for your lander token, and it's basically like cost free to do that. Divert Disaster is just like such a low opportunity cost card to have in your deck. Whereas sometimes it's like in a lot of formats it's not like that. It also goes late-ish, but it's not like that much late. It's going later than Shatter, but Shatter, I mean Shatter's fine. All these are sort of again, these are 60% is average for top users, so these are all kind of average. Nothing really changed all that much. Mechan doesn't even improve that much, which is a little surprising because the card has been a house in my experience. All right, onwards. Move on to black. Black's commons win rates are pretty low. Your highest is the Reverse Beetle. Black is maybe your worst color. I'm fine with hearing that. The removal spells are the worst they've been in a very, very long time. Like 56, opening 55, Grav kills 53, T6. Like these cards are not premium. They're being drafted like they are premium. They are being overdrafted at the moment. They're fine. They're good cards. I do think playing them is good, but the win rates suggest that they are being severely overrated at the moment. Which again, it has been a very very long time since Black's best common is not the 2 mana removal spell. Let's take. I mean, we can take a look for top users. I don't think it's going to change. Yeah, it is the Virus Beetle pretty significantly. And actually, one of the last commons that was not a removal spell that was Black's best common was Virus Beetle. Virus Beetle coming full circle, from Neon Dynasty where it was probably Black's best con. No, Reckoner Raid must have been better. Reckoner Raid was better. Um, but this thing kind of performing. I kind of like this guy. I kind of like this Beckoner guy. He's like one copy of him is like he's really annoying. Like he's in aggro decks, an aggressive black decks, which I think is like kind of the thing you want to be doing when you're playing black is like be a little aggressive. I think he's pretty decent. I also don't mind this if you're doing the Beckoner thing, like with the Virus Beetle. Like there's like a little common like black package you can kind of do. It seems like that's kind of the thing to do. But yeah, the Beckoner's sort of a fine-ish playable. Like not that unhappy about it. The second copy of it, it seems like a lot at times, but don't think it's too bad. A little surprised to see decode transmissions be like this low with the upside it has of like void being a thing. I don't think it's like I don't like mind this card, but it is not this card is just bad. We don't talk about that. We don't discuss those cards. Red. It's very similar win rates actually to black. You can see that red and black are bringing up the rear color wise, especially at common. We'll get into uncommons and whatever in a bit. Nebula Dragon, your second highest game in rate common, but opening hand reasons. The opening hand does indeed tell a different story. Zookeeper Mechan is probably your actual second best red common, maybe even your best red. No, it's not better than Plunge, but this is an actually good removal spell in this format. All the like Bombard's bad. Like Bombard, a card that is a reprint from uh Strixhaven. I don't think it's an exact reprint, but it's basically the same card as a 3-mana deal 4. Maybe it is. I think that one like couldn't be countered or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's performing quite poorly. It's the worst this effect's ever been. It's still a playable card. I like the pangolins. I like them. Are they good? Eh. They're okay. Some bad ones down here. The Red Tiger Mechan. I have lost to this card more often than I should have ever lost to it, which is to say 0 times. But we sometimes you keep some unkeepable hands and then you lose. It's really a wonder. Similar to black having that like weird common package of doing like sacky reanimate stuff, kind of. Red has this like weird artifact like sack pangolin package like that you can kind of do. So like red, I do think mono red is kind of the way to draft red. It is. We do have again. This set is in a lot of ways similar to Neon Dynasty. Like just you got the virus beetle. That's the main, obviously the obvious connection. But again, red is kind of artifacts. It's got this like Moxley, which is sort of like a synthesizer, and then you have your pangolin, which is sort of a little bit like the 2/2 artifact thing that was colorless. You know, it's missing a lot of key cards. It doesn't have like the 1-drops necessary. That's kind of the problem is that it doesn't really have like it kind of is not really like effective at doing the thing that it wants to do. Interestingly, I mean, Nebula Dragons, this is surprising. I am surprised to see the performance of Nebula Dragon. To be honest with you, I'm surprised that its game and hand rate is this high. Opening hand again obviously is going to be bad as a 7-drop, and you don't want to take it that high. But I'm a little surprised at how well it's performing. Because you can see like this 5-drop, like it's a 5-drop. You know what I mean? Like its opening hand rate should be its game and hand rate should be higher than whatever. But like it's I don't know. I am a little surprised. The Moxide is moving up, but not really. It's just these are both average win rates for top users, so not really anything exciting. Again, commons in this set in general, there's just not a lot to be excited about. You got Galactic Wayfarer, you got Burst. Green, is your best color at common, but it's, sort of green like it always is. It's pretty flat. Diplo relations, you get your Crasher, Dawbringer. It's just a sort of like nice commons. All of these are playable and decent. Kind of goes deep all the way down here. It's just a lot going on. Please don't play Shattered Wings in your main deck. Just don't do it. People love doing this. It's just you're throwing away equity. You just are. Like it's just like stop doing it. Do not do it. You can look at top users, and I don't think there's going to be enough data. Oh, there is. It's horrible for them. It's really, really bad. Don't play, like your game and hand win rate is worse than your game played win rate. That's always good. That's always something you want. No, it's not. Burst is technically higher than Wayfarer for top users. You get Pollinator. Diplo relations to Fungal Colossus performing sort of interestingly. But yeah, I mean, Green's commons are all fine. They're good role players. They're better than the other colors commons because of how deep they are, and you can just kind of draft them. But commons, are not the start of the show. There are some colorless common, multicolor, no, not in this set, colorless. The Pinnacle's kill ship is doing okay for top users. I'm gonna take the sleeper, the block, some other stuff that isn't very good. I'll take a look for everybody. The kill ship seems to be kind of playable. Everything else is kind of whatever. Sweeper is... I've played Sweeper too much, I think. I should probably stop playing this card. I should probably stop playing the Sweeper. Probably put that card in my deck too much. Here's the block. The block is like a fine card. It's not... It's nothing exciting. Like, you would definitely prefer not to play it. But... yeah. That's the block. That is the block at the end of the day. Top of the morning to you. Alright, on to the uncommons. I guess we can start with the colorless ones. Why not? Usually I don't, but I want to know if there's anything to think about. Scrapbot's quite good. Mechan is fine. Oh, I'm still on commons. No. Scrapbot's quite good. Mechan is fine. Everything else is kind of whatever. The scroll is decent. The scroll is definitely decent. I definitely think the scroll is one of your better fixing tools. Relic of a bygone era, the bygone Colossus. Like, the problem with the bygone Colossus, and you'll see this, is... oh my god, 38.6, that's just heinously bad. The thing with the bygone Colossus is, you need to have so many spacecrafts in your deck for it to do anything. And if you have that many spacecrafts in your deck sucks because you have a million spacecrafts in your deck. So that's a problem. That's kind of an issue. We can actually go to shift to multicolor because this is sort of... there's only 10 of these. It's unique. We're back to the 10 signpost formats. Hasn't been one in a long time. I unfortunately was incorrect about my pick to be the best one. Although maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I gave a formal pick, but I would have picked Station Monitor maybe. I don't know. Back Biomech Engineer was the nuts. These were the two I was between. Also with this guy who has underperformed my expectations. But Black-Red as a color pair is kind of bad. Servandum's been quite good. I underrated Alpharil. I did. Because I thought that the Death Touch only being on your turn actually like would kind of matter. And also just I thought that artifacts, how many artifacts are you actually going to have and do you want to discard them? Not so much. The rest of these are fine. This one... Sammy's been quite bad. This is just horrible. I mean, basically red-white is unplayable as a result of this being this bad. There's just nothing happening here. Like, the tapping your own stuff down thing just doesn't really work. Yeah, and a 3-mana 1/3 flyer is just not very good, is also a problem. It's also not an artifact. The Brood Pretender is a fine 2-drop. Yeah, a lot of these are kind of medium. You have your sort of like good ones and bad ones, but yeah, I mean they're all decent. I don't know if I would really want to first pick anything other than these two, the blue green and blue white ones I would, but these guys I don't really know if I'm super excited to get into like blue black or white black for these particular cards. So, all right, now we're just gonna have all the uncommons. I really would prefer to not have it be whatever. It's fine. We can just ignore them. So Dubious Delicacy is your best uncommon though, which is black. But then we get into white, blue, green. There's a red, black, green, black. So I mean, black has some uncommon powerhouses, right? Mostly artifact related. You have the Circuit Feeder. You have the Delicacy. So black artifact stuff. Code Cracker Hound is blues representation. One of the things, you're really not going to see much red. It's just Intimidator, and there's not much else in the red uncommon space. So I would say that red is probably your worst color then at common and uncommon. If you were to sort of amalgamate everything together, red is probably the worst color statistically. I think it and black are fairly close. Green, blue, white, sort of green being the top, and then blue and white being the second two colors. Again, in terms of raw power, the meta will shift over time, and that will change like draft preferences and whatnot. But that is the initial take. Let's get into the white uncommons. Anything to talk about here? Alfade Stalker, quite good. Real-Life Trooper. These cards actually have underperformed my expectations. Shepherd and Trooper. These are cards, an expansionist to a certain extent as well. All of these cards I sort of expected to be closer to the 60% range, and they have not been. Why that is, I don't know. I really am a little surprised specifically about this one. I think people are like, I don't know, Warp is a complex mechanic that I doubt people, including myself, play with correctly 100% of the time. I think warp is too difficult of a mechanic to get right enough of the time that um, people are always going to do that. I think warp is just hard, and so the warp cards. I mean, all Fate Stock are still doing well, but this one's not that deep. You bounce that you flicker their tokens and you eat their big creature. It's not that deep. Lightsmith is, you know, Lightsmith is one of the cards I was basically like bang on right about in the set review. I basically was like, yeah, this is good enough to play in your deck, but it's not going to be a busted card. And yeah, that's exactly where it is. It's being taken maybe a bit too high. Um, More than a bit too high. Honor down here, shout out. Oh wow, this is not doing as bad as I thought it would do. I mean, not really though. It is kind of doing as bad as I thought it would do. Anything interesting down here? Not really anything interesting down here. Anything interesting for top users? Sometimes there's something interesting. It's like way less interesting than usual. It's just the same cards. Honor's up here. An above average card for top users at the moment. Something to think about maybe. Still only slightly above average. For all users, it was slightly above average as well, so it's basically the same. On to the blue ones. Codecracker Hound, and then Mouth of the Storm. Tractor Beam is quite good. Zionist is good. Blast is good. I kind of overrated Blast because I had faith. I believed. The Council is kind of mid. Like Unravel is kind of mid. I don't love it. I think it's fine, but I do think Infiltrator is on that list of things that are fine. Mechanassembler. Curious to see Mechanassembler's win rate. No, it's still quite bad. It doesn't surprise me. It does do nothing when it enters the battlefield, but it is kind of fun. Oh, I got by a null yesterday. That was fun. Somebody, let's go find the game log. Actually, hold on. Let's go get it. Let's go show the game log. Is it? No, not Final Fantasy. Sorry, I'm flexing. Back to reality. Um, oh, did I not have all my game logs? Did my shit not record? Hello. There it is. There they are. Look at this mediocrity. Which deck was it against? I think I played it yesterday, so I think it was this one. Against this deck? No. Must have been. Because like, it was Banishing Light, so maybe it was this deck. I don't remember. This deck should probably have trophied, by the way. I just fumbled the bag. I probably shouldn't have played this Rammer, although I was playing it because of this guy, but I don't know. Don't play bad cards. I should have probably played this instead of Rammer. That would have been a smart thing to do instead of being dumb. All right, let me pause and see if I can find it. All right, I found it. It was like 2 days ago or whatever. It was in this deck instead. So here we are. This is turn one. So look at this. Opponent goes Mountain. Night Luminary in play. They go 3 mountains and they cast All Fade Scroll. Look at me. Banishing Light in hand. Opponents on 3 mountains and a 5-color land. Look at this. Look at what's about to happen here. And then I just get absolutely savaged. I just get absolutely savaged. Put Banishing Light on the stack, and then there's the Annul. What an absolute savaging. Like this is just I mean this is peak content right here. I mean this is exactly what you're I'm actually in the way. Let me move my I've moved oh god. I've moved everything. I've done everything. I've moved it all. I moved wrong freaking get me out of the way. There I am. Hi. It's right here. Alright. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. All right, back to uncommons. Back to talking about uncommons and being boring and not interesting and showing gameplay logs. Okay, so black uncommons. Delicacy as we mentioned. And then there's grab ship. Wait, where? Oh, circuit. I didn't. I guess I missed grab ship on the other thing. I don't know what I was looking at, but yeah, grab ship's quite good. Probably. No, delicacy's drafted. Bokal Zealot's up here. You got vote outs up here. A lot of like medium stuff. I like Hyperblade a lot. I like it a lot. Is it good? Eh. Do I like it? No, I like it. I like the card. Is it good? So Faller's Faithful jumps quite a bit for top users, I think. Well, not quite a bit. Actually, I would say a little bit. Maybe a percentage and a half. Maybe a percentage point and a half. But yeah, this card is very strong. And a bunch of stuff. Umbral Caller Zealot's just going to be, like, drafted so high. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's not even drafted as high as, like, I thought it would be. It's drafted lower than Circuit Feeder, which is kind of sensible, actually, but I wasn't expecting that. It is drafted above Faller's Faithful, which is definitely bad. That one's definitely incorrect. All right, on to red. And red again, like this, the uncommons, it's like Terror Pact Intimidator and then nothing. It's just nothing. Invasive Maneuvers has to be said. This is the worst this effect has been in a long, long time. Removal is just bad. Like removal, like not to say that like removal um is not like you need not you can't not to say that you can play games of Magic the Gathering without having interaction because you really can't. But in this set, the removal is like statistically performing some of the worst it's performed in a very long time. I can't stress enough how the black common removal is mostly bad. Some of the black uncommon removal is pretty medium to bad. The 2 mana deal 3 that could deal 5 in red is bad to mediocre. The shock is obviously bad, but we already knew that. This is cut propulsion. This card's not good. All of this is kind of bad. So I'm sort of staking my claim that red is your worst color in the format. I'm gonna stake that claim here today that red is the worst color, statistically. So we'll see how that changes as the format goes along. Now to a more interesting color, green. Glacier Godmaw, quite good. Yeah, makes a lander. Yeah, a lot of just big dudes. Sea Chip Impact definitely main deckable. Something to call out. So unlike Broken Wings, which we saw earlier, which is not main deckable, Sea Chip Impact very main deckable. You're two. It's a card you should take actually pretty highly. Get your Rovers fine, Agrarian's fine, use Social Engineering's fine. Like a lot of stuff you can do. Close Encounters actually kind of surprisingly low. Yeah, a lot of just reasonable stuff. And then we get to Might, and Might's kind of where it falls off. I'm surprised Predator's this low. It is just a big, dumb thing with Reach. I like this 2-drop more than I should. I do. I like it more than I should. Wow. This is, like, shocking. Okay, so don't ever put this card in your deck. Just don't do it. Like, don't ever take this card and put it in your deck. This is a shock. I can't believe it's this bad. I really can't believe it's this bad. Wow. I mean, that's a surprise. I didn't think it would be like a premium. You should never take this card. Like this card should never be in your deck. Like you can see how highly it's getting drafted, and you can see how low its win rate is. Do not play it. Do not ever play that card. This card is unplayable. This is a completely unpickable card. Average taken after top players 490. Don't take it. It's bad. Top players are getting baited. You are getting baited. A lot of overperformers in here. I don't know. These are actually about, again, 60 is sort of about your number. So, all right, that is it for the uncommons. We'll take a quick look at the best cards in the set, the rares and mythics. We will take a quick look to see what's interesting there. We have Ouroboros and Elegy Elite is your two sort of best cards with the Riddler, and that's it. These are sort of the triumvirate here. We can see these three have sort of a little bit of a separation from Imago, a card that goes way too late still, like 280. Like what's going on here? I guess it is two colors. Maybe that's about right. Colonnades up here. Shout out Celestial Colonnade for having like the 6th highest. Shout out to I just want to say shout out to me for rating Celestial Colonnade like not this high. But I basically rated it this high in the set review. Shout out to me. I'm shouting out myself on my own show. That's the level of self aggrandizing that's going on here. Okay, get it twisted. You will. Yeah, I don't know. Shout out Green Sun Zenith. Wow, that's shocking. Shocking that Green Sun Zenith's win rate is this high. I can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. But really, there's not that many like busted rares in this set. Like there's like 3 or 4 things, and then that's kind of it. As we can take a look at the openers, some of the opening busted cards, very similar, but Sunset Saboteur gets a little bit better. Mago is the same. Colonnade just delivering the beats. Shout out to all of the lands are doing quite well, like all of them. Even the red one, the red one. My takes are so good. Wait, I actually have to go. I mean, I have to make the take compilation. Cathedral of War, card that I have put in deck, and it's pretty good. It's worth it. Tar Pit. A lot of lands in here, interestingly. Surima's here. So yeah, I mean, there's rare wise in terms of colors. Actually, a lot of red. So red does get a little bit of help. So we saw that red at common or uncommon is pretty lacking, and there are some red rares that maybe make it worthwhile to get into red. Hellkite, Gunship, possibly Technician, but they're not even the best of the best. The best of the best are not red, and then sort of like there's some good red rares, but not a ton. And actually, like blue has kind of, I don't want to say underperformed my expectations, but look at all these lands in here. You know it's funny. You never really see lands with win rates this high. It's really strange to see it, and it just shows how good creature lands are. Really, it kind of shows that like getting into a deck for a creature land like appears to almost be worth it. Like specifically Colonnade. Like I think you should draft blue white for Celestial Colonnade, which is it seems kind of psychotic. Like you would never do that, but actually like I mean we're kind of in games played 57.2. It's not like the highest win rate ever, all in the games played, but like yeah, it's I don't know. It's like not an unreasonable thing to do. Exiles of Vestige, one of the best colorless cards ever. All these Wraths, dude. There's like 6 Wraths. There's only like 5 Wraths. But all the Wraths are good, which is sad for a guy like me. As a Wrath hater, when the Wraths are good and limited, it's a sad day for a guy like me. Final Fantasy, nice and clean, no good Wraths. So easy to be back in those times when Wrath of God was terrible, and I could just play all my creatures and not have to think about it. Not having to think. Thinking is very bad. I don't want to do that. Yeah, all the creature lands are just a house, basically, is what we learned today. And that is it. That's it for the early 17 Lands data review for Edge of Eternities. Hopefully, I will have the set review, edit, compilation thing out soonish. This video is a little bit late because I've had less experience with the format, and also just I don't know. I get lazy sometimes. But if you like this type of content, please subscribe. Subscribe for limited content. Do it. Do it right now. Bye.